Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode. Is it 14, Ben? It's not a good start. Episode 14?
I think it's 14.
Episode 14 of Boys
Sounds
from the
about right.
Baltic Star. It sounds about right. What's one or two episodes between friends? Thank you for joining us tonight. It's actually started with some people in. It's quite exciting. Thank you. I hope you enjoy your evening with us for as long as you can hang around. If you don't already, follow us on Twitter at BoysBaltic. If you do already, then hey, thanks for coming along. I'm Luke. I'm in the black with the blue background. The other person in the black background is Ben, the brains behind the operation, and sunning himself in some kind of futuristic ancient world today. It looks like is Ewan.
Pretty much.
My partner in crime, my closest buddy, my friend and fellow annoyer of Ben. So anyway, for those that we are now affiliates, and now we've got points at the bottom. We've put them a bit cheaper for tonight, so if anything does take your fancy, feel free to click it. We've tried to make them interactive and sort of fun. Mr. Leno, if I don't get any heckling now, I'll be very disappointed. So we've got some things, hopefully you'll make use of them. They're a bit of fun, just to add to the evening and keep the light-hearted vibe. We will be drinking, feel free to drink or not drink too, and there will be a loo break halfway through if you've drunk too much. So yes, Ben, where are we? What's going on? Why are we so upset?
Well, the story so far. The boys from the Baltic Star spent an evening on the lake enjoying the company of an old friend, Anton Fess, and breaking the ice on a possible business deal with the Commodore. As boating trips on the lake go, it turned out to be no more risky than their last one, although that did set the bar very low. They were offered the opportunity to spend some time on one of the Commodore's ships, and they agreed that they would be taken there by Cat Aralesti in a couple of days. Cat had also suggested that they might enjoy a visit to the Cascade, a bar and nightclub on Lake Simel. The party was much taken with the wonderful waterfall trick, but less impressed with learning one of the party had been discreetly bugged, and their plans were not necessarily private. Returning to the Hotel Coronet, the travellers, still unsure how to handle the bug, decided to arrange for a birthday surprise for Agnar's 70th, and hatched a plan with one of the infinite numbers of Tims that apparently inhabit this galaxy. And that is where we resume the story, with everyone having had a night's sleep. So each of you are woken by knocks on the door.
Lovely. Cara is going to be hanging, judging by how much I had a drink last night. It's going to take a minute to hear the knocking, and she's definitely going to look over to the bed across the way to hope against, praying that Zoe's going to be the one getting up to get the door.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, Zoe is alert. She actually had practically nothing at all to drink last night.
She didn't.
And she springs out of bed very impressively, charges over to the door, pulls it open. If you remember, it's essentially a freestanding lift in the room that comes down. So once opened, there is a young woman standing there with an enormous sort of tray of cooked breakfast.
Cara groans and puts her head back under the pillow. That's not what I want to be seeing at this time of the morning. Oh, ooh, even the smell. That smell of a cooked fry up or something, just when you really don't want it. It wafts across.
Can Cara roll a survival check for me?
Yes, I think she will.
We're not, normally those are rolled with intellect, but this time we're not going to go with intellect. We're actually going to go with endurance.
Endurance, yeah, that sounds about right.
Much more realistic.
She rolls a 5.
As Zoe enthusiastically tucks into the enormous heaped cooked breakfast, which she's thoroughly enjoying, the sound of Cara retching into the fresh air acts as a nice counterpoint to the waking up in the morning. Yes. So that's how they greet the morning. Which is the next one? I think we should leave Agnar's room for last. I feel.
Yeah, probably. Stefan's probably feeling all right. He took it a little bit easy on the boat, so he'll jump up from wherever he fell asleep and go answer the door.
Okay.
I mean, he knows what's coming anyway, right? He was there with the.
He does.
When the
Yes.
order was placed.
And he's bunking with Soraya, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I have a feeling Soraya may have had a couple more drinks, but not like Cara did.
No, yeah, she was well within her limit, but it was a nice night.
So they open to see exactly the same kind of sight. The tray is brought through and settled down on a table for them, and they can happily jump in and enjoy a thoroughly cooked breakfast.
Wonderful. Stefan will tip for breakfast, I guess. He'll give them 50 credits.
Oh,
Lovely.
Oh,
Sounds
what a
reasonable.
gentleman.
Okay. Which leaves us with Agnar's room.
I mean, Agnar wakes up and he is aching. He is hungover. He's got a few years on the rest of them, but he was dancing away
He was.
like somebody half his age, and he's probably feeling very stiff and very slow to get up this morning.
Yeah.
So he eventually gets up and answers the door.
Okay. So what is the sight that is greeting Agnar is two young Varga females wearing cut-out jumpsuits, basically, who have large patches of their fur showing through where the cutouts have been made.
Oh, no.
And they stride into the room with a bit of a wiggle on, and begin setting up the table for him, and not only set up the table and everything, but carefully attend his every need, shall we say.
He'll sort of look a little bit confused, I suppose, when they first open the door, and probably just hang his head and shake it and mutter, "Soraya." He's very clear. I mean, I think it's very clear at this point who the practical joker in the group is. He'll take the breakfast and he'll go and say, "Oh, thank you very much. I think that's all I need." Can I just ask who did this order come from on your team, on the reception team? Is it Tim?
You know him.
Oh, Tim.
Yes, I'm familiar with Tim and one of his acquaintances in the guests. Well, thank you for the breakfast. Room number, and he'll give Soraya's room number. We'll sort out the tip for you.
Oh. Cheeky.
Thank you very much. And they, once they're happy that they've done whatever they can do to make his morning pleasurable, they wish him a happy birthday. They tell him he looks great for his age. they
Probably
they
at the
make
happy
sure-
birthday moment, he pauses for a minute, thinks about it, and then connects it with Soraya and just goes, "Yeah, thanks."
Absolutely. And there is clearly, much merriment to be had, even if only briefly. And it is not very long before breakfast is done, and Cara has attempted to drown herself in the shower a few times without much success. But even for her, eventually the room stops spinning, and she can emerge once Zoe has enthusiastically polished off all of the food, and there's literally nothing left to see or smell.
Good effort.
Oh, yeah. She's a hungry girl. At this point, her hair very much still dripping, and dragging herself back over to the sofa and the bed, pulling the door open because they have the. You can walk out onto a thingy, can't you? Outside, it's got a.
There's a balcony
It's a
on
balcony.
each side of the room. One that overlooks the sort of central circle with the water your side because you're on the actual lake side of the hotel, and then a little bit further away the sort of semicircular green lawn.
Cool.
On the other side, it just looks out over the lake.
So Cara will go over to the lakeside. She'll pull the door open, sort of go stand out there just in the towel and just sort of close her eyes and sort of face to the morning sun. You know, just get the rays on there, and she'll sort of think for a while, and then she'll remember. Oh yeah, the bug. We need to do something about that. All in her head. She turns around to Zoe and she sort of points towards the phone device on the bed and sort of walks over towards it to pick it up to go through what they did the night before, which was texting so that the bug wouldn't hear them.
Indeed. Okay. So in essence, with the communication, what are you in fact sending each other? What are the messages?
So the first message will be, I've got a plan, and it comes in 3 parts. That'll be the first. That'll be the first thing she sends. Well, sort of pointing at the bug, wherever we left it, you know, on the bedstand or something. Number 1. We vocally try and trick Fess into thinking that today instead, because we're going on a big ordeal tomorrow, we're going to have a relaxing day at Earth Park.
Okay.
That's number 1. Point number 2 of the plan, we're going to wrap up the bug the best we can. You know, muffle it, stifle it, whatever we can. We can't do anything with directional stuff, but, you know, depending on how flash it is, if it's just listening out or whatever, we're going to wrap it up as much as we can. We're going to get it over to the naval base at some point today.
Okay.
And point 3, we're going to send it up to, help me with the name, Ewan? Pramus, because she's naval, isn't she? Naval intelligence.
She's been a bit discreet about what her actual responsibility and rank is. She just refers to herself as Officer Pramus, apparently, but she certainly seems to be some fairly high-ranking and discreet naval person. Yes.
So we're gonna ask them to send it up to Officer Pramus. It's very important, and in it we'll put a note saying, whoever has this heard our private conversation with you last night.
Okay.
And that's the 3-part plan. And then she drops the phone back on the bed and sort of, you know, runs a hand through her hair and sort of rubs at her eyes a little bit.
All right. Okay. So, is anyone going to respond to the plan? I mean, to be fair, Zoe can actually respond to the plan by just like showing a thumbs up, can't she?
Yeah.
But other people might be a little more distant.
Agnar will message back and he'll say that that sounds good. By the way, Soraya, thank you for the birthday breakfast. Did Cara tell you? I didn't know she knew when my birthday was.
Soraya said, Soraya messages back saying she didn't just know the date, she knew what birthday it was. Happy 70th, old man.
He'll roll his eyes and chuck his phone down and start to get ready.
Okay. All right.
And I guess from Stefan and Soraya, they can, you know.
So is anyone
discuss it between
responding with something negative about the plan, or are people pretty much on board?
I think Soraya will remember that we've got that tour guide today. So if we do this, we do need to go and tell Tim to keep the tour guide waiting, because we've got to ping over to, if I can remember where it is to Kuala. And it's not a long trip, is it? It's only like half an hour all the way around the whole capital. But it still could be an hour trip.
Yeah.
So
I mean, to be fair, for an hour you could probably get from one end to the other and then back again if you didn't do anything when you got there.
Yeah.
Yes, Kuala is the one where you visited the Earth Park Hotel.
Yeah.
And it's also indeed the location of the Imperial Navy area.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so if we're happy to sort of make Tim keep any tour guide waiting for us, then we can pop over. It's still early. Do what we need to do, and then just have a lovely day, seeing the sights and the sounds and the smells.
Hopefully.
Well, I don't know if
Ben
that
phrases it like, has anybody got anything negative to say about the plan? It implies that it might not be such a lovely day.
Yeah, I'm being very assuming at this point.
But no, it does sound like a good plan.
Okay. All right. So, are you going to assemble?
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. I guess we get ready and meet in the lobby reception area.
Okay, fair enough.
Stefan will message everyone and suggest that.
As they're sort of leaving the room, Cara will just message to Soraya. Just say, can you grab a couple of bits out of your... Because Soraya carries around a couple of sort of tall kitty type things, doesn't she? So she'll just be like, can you just bring a bit of gaffer tape and stuff that we can sort of do something to this bug with, really?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yep, that's absolutely fine. Okay. So, not many minutes after breakfast, everyone assembles in the lobby of the hotel. Where one of the many Tims enthusiastically smiles at you.
Tim! Good timing for Soraya. She wanders over to him with a broad grin on her face. What a beautiful morning, Tim. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
What a beautiful night's sleep we had. Let me be the first to congratulate you on your hosting abilities. And she leans over with a 50 credit tip to put onto his little machine.
Superb. He's experienced this kind of thing. You barely catch his eye flicker down as he takes note of it, and a big smile crosses his face. Well, you're most welcome. I hope it met your requirements.
And the morning treat for our septuagenarian friend, our fuzzy septuagenarian friend. He had an absolute delight. I've heard rumours that they were worried he was going to have a heart attack for a minute, but he powered through. So please give our thanks to the other Tims that made it possible.
Of course. You're very welcome.
Just one thing. We know you're a man with many skills and abilities. We had a tour planned for today, picking up from the hotel, I believe. We've got to run an errand first. Would it be okay for you to just hold the tour guide, him or her, for an hour or two till we get back? We can make it worth everyone's while if they're waiting for too long. Would that be okay?
Of course. If someone turns up, I'll ask them to wait.
Splendid. Thank you so kindly, Tim. Cool. Right, and then Soraya will go back over to the group. And I guess we need to make it look like we're going somewhere else, Ewan, for the day. Because we haven't spoken out loud in the group yet, have we?
No, yeah, that's true, I guess.
Don't give Ben an out. Don't give him any way to craft it to his weedly, sneaky ways.
So as everyone comes back over, Agnar will say, right, so as it is my birthday, is everybody ready for a second treat of more Earth Park?
More Earth Park. Get in.
All you can eat barbecue.
Oh, yes.
Daddy. Fantastic, yes. There's a fair amount of nodding around.
He'll wink.
What, like that meme?
Not very good at it, yeah.
Kara's like, Daddy Agnar Part 2! Woohoo! Let's go lie in the sun. eat meat.
Superb.
Stefan,
Okay.
you could try and do some somersaults again this time.
I might do. I had mixed results last time.
Well, yeah, bear in mind, nobody else saw you complete the successful one. They only saw you fall flat on your face.
Oh, yeah. But he's all right with that. As long as he knows, he can still do one.
Absolutely. It's not about what other people think.
Come on then, let's get going.
Okay. So what's the sequence? Are you going straight to the transit point?
No, because you're going to wheedle it around your wheedly little ways. First,
do we want to go to the further away transit point?
First, Kara's going to drag Soraya into the toilet and get her to gaffer tape and wrap up and everything the bug so that he can't hear anything.
Okay.
A bit of stuffiness, a bit of something. Do the best job they can, I guess, with all the bits.
So I'm going to. Soraya's got the actual technical skills, hasn't she?
Yeah, she should have. She's at least decent at most of the ones needed.
Okay. This is effectively going to be a combination of things. We're going to have Kara make a stealth check with dexterity.
Okie
And the effect of that is going to then be applied to an electronics communications check for Soraya. Okay?
Okie. Is it that way? Does it have to be that way round?
Yep.
Oh, no. Okay. Here we go. So it's Dex plus Stealth for Kara. That could be okay, because that is a 9.
Okay. That'll give you, because of what you're doing, that will give you an effect, but I can't tell you what it is, I'm afraid.
Okie dokie. So then I need to roll. Do I need to roll? I need to roll a sensors.
Electronics. Yeah, sensors, I think. Sensors is probably best, yes.
Okay.
Or sensors or communications, which is...
We'll definitely go sensors. That's a 3-point swing between the two.
Okay,
so
that's fine. Yeah.
So, is it sensors plus anything else?
No. Well, yes, it will be... I'm sorry, it'll be intellect, yes.
Okay, sensors and intellect. Okay, so plus 3. Right. Ah ha ha! Mon Dieu, mon Dieu.
Oh,
The first of the evening.
very nice.
The first, hang on, the first. I went across into Ewan's head. I was so excited then. Look, Ewan, look. The first of the evening.
Hey, so what does that add up to with your bonus?
Oh, hang on. Oh, my goodness. 12 plus 3 is 15 on top of whatever
15.
the 9 was, yeah.
Yeah, plus the effect, which I can't tell you. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Plus the -5.
Plus the, yeah. It was a hard job, which we failed badly.
You have yeah, as far as you are aware, you have wrapped it as best you can.
Okay. Thank you. Cool. Nice one. So we'll sort of take it back. We won't be flashing it around. We'll sort of wave it to the group, but that's about it. And then Kara will stick it into her inner pocket and motion for Daddy Agnar to lead us on after turning around to wave to Tim, of course.
Bye-bye, Tim.
Bye-bye, Tim. Thanks, Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
So Agnar will just, I guess, stop for a minute and just ask the group, do you want, should we head to the further away transit point? And make our route a little bit more obscure, just in case.
I like it. Anything to throw a bit of jiggery poker into that. Tim! Tim has been redeemed. Tim! Carry on. It's got to stay there for a little while. Yes, let's send him on a merry chase today.
Wonderful. So Agnar will lead them on to the north-east
Yep.
transit point.
Yep.
And as they go, Stefan will just look at Soraya and just say, "I'll follow on behind," and he'll hang back a little bit.
Okay. So Stefan's hanging back a little bit from the group.
Yeah, he'll just make sure that no one's following them as they leave the hotel.
Okay. Can you roll a streetwise with intellect, please, for me?
Yes. That's not great. That's a 4 plus 2 is 6.
4 plus 2 is wow. That's a 6. Yeah. Okay. Not only does Stefan fail to notice if anyone is following, he actually bumps into a few people that he damn well should have seen as they were just walking about.
It's all that breakfast. It's made him a bit sluggish. Along the way, he'll message them and just say, "Looks like we're okay. No one's following." And he'll probably hang back till we get about halfway to the transit point, then he'll catch up.
Okay.
Given that he hasn't seen anything.
Fair enough. So the journey to the transit point is a matter of a few hundred meters. It's not a huge distance, 500 meters probably. And as you know, there's not a huge difference greatly between the two transit points in terms of the distance from the hotel. But you can absolutely pick whichever one you want, and you've picked the sort of northern one rather than the southern one. And as you arrive, it looks completely routine. People are coming and going. There is the subtle sound of trains arriving, pushing a bit of air around as they go, mole pistons. And you can head down onto the platforms if you'd like.
So, let's go. I'm looking forward to my day in the park.
Seems to be where this is heading.
Okay. All right. So you make your way down. The arrangements are broadly that if you're coming on to join a train, you come down the middle of the station. So everyone, whether you're going, whichever direction you're going, whichever train you're getting on, you're standing on the same departure platform. The two outer platforms are the arrival platforms. But again, there's no armed guards forcing you to do this. It's just the routine way it's done. And you make your way onto one of the trains, heading, south and west, without any particular difficulty. Is Stefan still keeping an eye out?
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely check when we get on a train.
Okay, all right.
Anywhere that he feels as though it would be somewhere that they would know that we would be passing through to get to our destination. For sure.
Can Stefan roll a recon check for me, please? With intellect.
He can. That's much better. That's an 8 plus 0.
Okay. All right. You notice as you're getting on the train that there seem to be a few quite well turned out, very fit looking guys in Imperial Navy uniforms meandering about the platform, and some of them seem to get on the train at the same time as you.
Okay. Any longing looks towards the group?
Not that you can spot, no.
Longing looks?
Longing, yeah.
How long have they been in space?
You never
know. Oh, but Agnar's got a glow about him this morning.
And Agnar looks very good for his age.
He looks very good for his age.
He does. Okay. He'll just sort of make eye contact with people and gently nod towards a set of Imperial Navy troops that I presume there was some on the same carriage. Or they were long. Was it just one long snake train type thing?
Yes, essentially, it's one train that you're dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, he'll just gesture towards and just point them out to everyone else, I guess.
Okay.
But I don't feel that's anything to worry about at this point.
I don't see any reason why you'd be worried about anything. You have no reason to be suspicious about anything at all. You can completely relax. In fact, I'd let your dice go cold and not even think about it. Okay, so the train moves off and very, very swiftly arrives, of course, at the other station on this peak before rushing through the hollow part just underneath the crest of the dam that takes it, past Lake Simel, and then it turns a slight left curve as it leaves or passes through and then leaves Pito for the wealthy peak of Mina, which you've been to before, where you met Kat the first time, and Cara began her Twitch career.
She's not feeling it today.
And finally, the next stop is indeed Kuala.
Cool. Well, is Kuala just the one stop?
Yes, there's only one stop, pretty much in the middle of the peak.
Cool. Off we get then.
Okay. Now, you've seen Kuala before, of course. It's where you visited the Earth Park Hotel and stayed there. It's where you visited Earth Park headquarters as well. And that part is very much towards the southern side of the Peak of Kuala. If you head essentially in the other direction, away towards the northern side of the peak, you enter an area which is much less built up. Big open spaces, a number of very generic looking prefabricated type buildings. And before you get very far, a fairly imposing looking fence with a gate and a couple of Imperial Navy armed guards there.
I thought you meant a completely different type of fence then.
Is that Stefan rubbing his hands together?
Yeah.
Finally, my time to shine.
I assume that Agnar is still leading at this point.
Well, if he's in Daddy Agnar mode, I don't think anyone would feel they could take over.
He'll beckon the group up to the gates, and he'll say, "I assume there's people there meeting or waiting to not let us in."
there are two armed guards, effectively. They look quite relaxed, despite being armed. They look quite relaxed.
He'll stride up to them quite confidently. He'll say, "Good morning. We're here to seek a bit of help. Perhaps we could speak to whoever's in charge. Do you have a base commander?"
Can you roll a persuade check for me, please?
No.
Yeah, sure. Can he try and social this a little bit?
Yes, he can definitely use social. In fact, because of his military rank and career, I suspect he can also have a boon on this.
Ah, we love a boon.
That was going to be the thing I was going to drop next, but I was going to wait until after they'd turned me down first.
What? Don't you know who I am?
Yeah. That is a...
Oh no!
7 minus 1 is 6.
Might still need to do
6. That. Oh, well done. It was good. Good, you had the boon then.
Oh no!
It certainly is.
So, indeed, the guy glances up and down at Agnar and says, "Sir, bases have base commanders, but I think you'd know that if you had any real business. Why don't you just move along?"
he'll turn back to the group and sort of look behind him, and he'll say, "Now you listen here.
Oh, yes.
I am Agnar Arneson, former general of the 17th Rift Runners, and I have business with a high-ranking naval officer in orbit around the planet. I would like to get a message to her. Perhaps you could go and find somebody who could help me deal with that."
Okay. Can
And
you
he'll turn
roll
back to
a...
the group and give a thumbs up.
I like this. I like this Agnar more than Daddy Agnar. So,
Can you roll a sway with social check for me, please? This time no boon.
Yeah,
But
that's fair enough, I think. Oh, that's much better, though. That is an 11 minus 1.
okay, fair enough. Okay, the guard on the gate cheerfully smiles, and he says, "Yes, sir. Of course. Why don't you wait here until a suitably high-rank officer arrives?" And he then steps back towards the gate and completely ignores you.
Oh, wonderful. Agnar will turn back to, I assume, Kara at this point, and will say, I think this guy's an idiot. Can you message Pramus and see if we can get into this base? He'll turn around to the guy first and say, Can I just take your name and rank, please, sir?
And why would I give you that?
He'll turn back around and just say to Kara, "Say bad things about whoever's on the gates at the minute."
Kara will get out her device, which is probably mostly in her hands most of the time anyway, and she'll hold it up. She'll go, "Hi, I'm Kara Laska, and I'm here at the Navy base, about to ruin this guy's career," and flicks it off. And then sends
even better, take a photo.
And then turns it around, like stops that, gets out and says, "Okay, yeah, we've got Pramus's direct number, the one that she gave us directly for when it was needed. Okay, I'll start that." And she'll start reading out loud. "Officer Pramus, we have very important information to give you as part of our ongoing business with you. We were hoping to use the Navy base to send something up to you, but this man here, I'm going to share a video. This man here wouldn't let us in, despite a fair request from our beloved General Arneson. Attach video, send." Looks at the guy.
Okay. All right. Can you roll 1d6 for me, please?
Oh, I never know whether this is fast or low. And I'm burning my bridges. I wanted to get some drugs off these guys, and I've just upset them. We'll have to do it in the bazaars.
I'm sure there's plenty more people in the base rather than the two guys on the gates.
Yeah.
Or haven't been either way.
Wrong uns. Right, here we go. It's a 1, which is either brilliant or terrible.
Okay. Right. Yep. All right. There is almost immediately a response back from Pramus, which says, it's just a text, basically, which says, "Pramus actual, stand by, incoming."
Ah, fantastic. Cool. Kara stands by. And
Okay.
Agnar probably stands around quite awkwardly in the interim period. Not wanting to back down, but not confident enough just to stare straight at the guy. He's quite a confident person, but
Okay, fair enough.
it's been a weird morning.
All right. Ewan, can you roll 1d6 for me, please?
Yeah. That's a 3.
Okay. All right. So, where you're standing in front of the gate is a sort of fairly open area, as you might imagine. The gate is actually set back a little bit from the main line of the fence to provide a little bit of an inlet before the gate itself, and there's clearly a road that's supposed to be used to go through the large vehicle gate. But in front of it, none of the buildings that you passed on the way here have been built particularly close, and it's made, you wouldn't necessarily say a square because it doesn't look quite as formal as that. It's just that there's quite a gap, quite an open area here in front of the gate. And into this gap, you see a fairly substantial looking dropship arrive. It looks, if you've seen Aliens, think that, but bigger.
Oh my goodness.
It is a substantial and heavy looking armored piece of kit, absolutely covered in weapons. And it's covered in, military style markings, little bits of vaguely camouflage stuff, and all those yellow signs that say "Don't step here" and danger, downblast, and all that kind of thing are all over it. It comes in at a ridiculously high rate, as if it's coming into a hot drop zone, flaring at the last couple of seconds. And though it does come perfectly well to a stop, it clearly hits the ground hard. The guy flying it, or woman flying it, you can't see at this point, is obviously used to landing this thing fast, getting it down on the ground quickly, and makes no concession for the fact that there's nobody shooting at them. So it comes down, it hits hard with its landing gear, which has an enormous amount of absorption in it. There's a proper bounce, to it before it readies. And even before the rebound has been properly damped by the dampers, underneath the nose of this craft, where the pilot presumably sits, there is a pair of ramps, one each side, and they drop with an absolute clang down onto the surface. And down them come flat out 4 completely battle dress armored Imperial Space Marines, who trot over towards the group, again at a good old speed. They're running fast, but bear in mind, it doesn't look as if they're going as fast as they are because they look bulky. It sort of makes them look slower than they're actually moving. But they get to you in a couple of seconds. And as they arrive, one of them runs straight up to Soraya, glances at her, looks her up and down, turns and looks at Kara, looks her up and down, and then turns to Kara and says, "Kara Laska?"
Kara, she's a bit taken back by the sudden. She's trying to live on her charm, but she's a bit taken back. So she manages a smile that's probably about 30% confident and 70% nervous. She's like, "Yeah, that's me. I'm Kara Laska, and I'm here at the naval base." She's trying to make light of it a little.
Still holding up her blogging.
No, she's definitely not this time. No,
that's a very big man. Very big.
Her hands are very much by her side. That's for sure.
Okay. He says, "Get aboard."
Just me?
Your group. Get them all aboard. Come on, we're Oscar Mike.
Right. Come on, guys. Looks like we're not going to Earth Park after all. And heads off walks off towards the dropship.
Okay.
Agnar will turn back to the guy at the gates and just say, I think, is this the suitable rank that you were referring to? And then just turns around and walks off.
Oh, he's big dogging him.
He doesn't do it often.
Well, he's the big dog, I guess. You can.
Literally.
Literally.
Can yes. Okay. Can I have all 4 characters roll a streetwise check for me, please?
Ooh.
With intellect.
Streetwise with intellect. Okay, now we're talking.
Well, let's, as always, get Agnar out of the way first because he's on -3.
It's a 7 plus 2 for Soraya. That's a 9.
Okay.
That's a 6 -3 for Agnar.
Oh,
Grand total of 3.
Yep, good.
It's 'cause he's too busy big dogging the other lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got other things on his mind. Stefan, however, gets the warm dice.
And 10 for Kara.
Okay.
2 very good rolls tonight.
Okay,
And a bad one.
Stefan got a 10 minus. Oh no, sorry. Streetwise is +2.
Ooh.
You got a 12.
All
right. It's not something that necessarily any of you pick out specifically, but as you're sort of hustled inside and sort of shown to these jump seat benches, and just shepherded in that direction. Nobody's grabbing hold of anyone here. You begin to notice that Zoe is looking really uncomfortable about this whole situation.
Now, Zoe is Zidani forces, isn't she, historically?
If you believe what she told you.
Well, if we can only believe what she told us, can't we?
For what we know, yeah.
For what we know, she's Zidani forces, and for what we also know, what have I got down? Okay.
Stefan will. I assume Stefan notices. He'll sort of look at Kara in a hungover state, and then look back to Soraya and just sort of raise his eyebrows and nod over towards Zoe.
Okay.
She wants to take this one.
As the ramp slams shut, the 4 Marines in front of you don't bother to sit down or strap in or anything. They're confident their battle dress will take the acceleration without any trouble. And you hear over the internal tannoy, dust off in 3, dust off in 1, and then there's this almighty bang as the engines fire up at the same time as the undercarriage retracts, and the whole thing begins to accelerate like a lift, almost straight up. It tilts backwards, it begins to accelerate, it's buffeted by the atmosphere. There is no concession whatsoever to passenger comfort. So can Kara make
Oh no!
a survival check for me with endurance?
Aim for the heavy breakfast.
We'll have to see. It is with what was it?
Endurance.
With endurance. Oh god. It's a 7, a flat 7.
A 7.
Oh.
Okay. For just a few seconds, she thinks she's going to be able to hold on to the precious little that's left in her stomach.
Oh no.
She almost does,
Oh.
but just at the as the moment she thinks I'm going to make it, suddenly she isn't. But faster than you can even imagine, one of the battle dress equipped people sort of slams an open bag in front of her face for her to grab at a critical juncture.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
These are the real life consequences of your in-game actions that, you know, referees and DMs often love to talk about, aren't they?
Actions have consequences.
Actions
yes.
have consequences.
Yeah. Just a minute or two into the flight, the call comes out saying, "Ship is ballistic. Ship is ballistic." And you can actually feel the change in the engine power. It's basically killed its engines and is now drifting towards its target, wherever that may be. So yes, you have a few minutes. Zoe is still basically looking at the floor between her feet.
Soraya will start by trying to send a message directly to Zoe, saying, "You okay? You know, UK. In fact, UK question mark."
Can't drop a dime. There we
No,
go.
oh, no, it's a sign.
Yeah. After a moment, Zoe sort of seems to read it about 9 times before responding, which, to be fair, may be because you wrote it in hieroglyphic. And she responds with that, not on the thing. She sort of shows a sort of slightly wan-looking thumbs up.
Soraya will message back with are you worried? Question mark.
Okay. She stands up and walks over to sit down next to Soraya. And she says, "I kind of know who these guys are." But she says it quite loudly so that the guys in the armor will overhear her. She's not trying to be surreptitious.
Who are they?
The insignia on the ship. 177 Naval Infantry.
And what do the 177 Naval Infantry do?
Well, they kind of do things that others can't or won't.
Things that people with certain morality or weaker stomachs might not do?
Yeah, or perhaps any adherence to the basic tenets of law, justice, or ethics.
So I'm just making a note. Sorry, Sorry, everyone. I'm just making a note of the unit. It's very important for me to remember. Sarah will lean over to Agnar and say, "Have you?" And I guess this is something for your backstory. I guess have you ever run into the 177?
No, I haven't. Would I have heard any stories?
It's a fair point, actually. Can you roll a straight? I'm tempted to say a straight education check, but also with, yeah, it's a weird one. But can you do education plus social?
Yeah, I can. I believe. Could I don't suppose. I mean, I assume some of my military tactics was taught or learnt. Would that be relevant at all?
Not in this case, no.
Okay.
Good thought,
Cool.
but not here.
I shall do social and education.
Yeah, if you can add your bonuses for social education.
No, he doesn't.
Well, unfortunately, he rolled a 3, plus 4 is 7.
Okay. All right. What Agnar knows is that the naval infantry are essentially space marines, but specifically they are intended for deployment aboard ships rather than deployment on the planet's surfaces for the most part. They are like old-fashioned marines rather than marine commandos.
Mm-hmm.
However, the nature of them being based on big ships that are therefore in big fleets means that various special units and regiments within them tend to assemble for intelligence functions, for counterinsurgency functions, for anywhere you might end up with some guys with guns where there's a big fleet around. So you kind of know the general concept, but you've never encountered this particular unit.
Okay. So he'll reply just saying, I don't know of them, but they appear to be some kind of special unit.
Thanks.
They
You can
probably
imagine
fall
everyone
under the
staring at
category.
Agnar and going, well done. Thank you.
Thanks, Agnar.
They probably fall under this category of a special unit. You know, intelligence, counterinsurgency, all the things Ben said, is what he will relay.
Thanks,
In
Agnar.
game.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Sarai doesn't look particularly enthused by this. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
She jumped out of the military to stay away from this kind of thing, really. The big beefy boys and that. So, yeah.
Looking around, is there anyone on the ship that appears to be in charge?
Literally in this area of the ship, which is essentially the open bay,
or that we've seen.
what you've got is a personnel bay at the front, which is where all of you are. Your party and the 4 Marines. Towards the back of that, there's a sort of vehicle bay with pad eyes to lock down vehicles and automatic releases, and a big ramp at the back. However, there's no actual vehicle there. That's just completely empty at the moment.
Yeah.
And though there are ladders heading up to what are probably a bridge space and maybe some turrets and things like that, you haven't looked up there, and you can't see up there from where you are.
Okay, cool. But then there's no sort of senior crew member that I can tell.
There's no way. There's nobody other
the
than the 4 Marines you can see, and they, for operational reasons, do not display their rank on their armor.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. Cool. That is all I was interested in.
That is all
for the time being.
Okay.
And presumably they're armed, so Stefan would be more interested in.
They are extremely well armed, yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they seem to be carrying what you might call light weapons for this kind of operation, but there are a lot of them. They each seem to have an ACR slung across their back, and they've each got a sidearm down the side, and each seem to also have some form of short barrel carbine across their chest.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. All right. So if nobody else wants to say or do anything on the journey, we will proceed to as docking happens.
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
I'm stunned. Cara and Sarah are definitely. It's like you've been called to the headmaster's office, and you sit outside with your head down.
Actually, on our way up, can Stefan just turn to Soraya and say, "Do you want to call Tim and tell him we might be a little bit longer?" just sort of chuckle.
So I rolls her eyes. I'm not in the mood right now. He can wait.
Okay. It's only a few minutes before the call comes in again over the tannoy from the pilot, maneuvering, and suddenly the craft, which has been flying pretty smoothly, is now jerking around and beginning to make abrupt changes of direction, and there's a lot of thrust throwing you about in your seats.
sorry, it was redeemed, Ali.
And you and what you see, of course, is as you're sort of moving, there is nothing to see out of. There aren't any windows or anything like that you can see out of, so it's a bit disorienting. But after not very many moments, there is a sort of quite an abrupt, sudden deceleration, and the craft again seems to hit with a bit of a bounce on its undercarriage. There's no delaying. Again, within a second, the thing's not even really stopped bouncing on its springs, so to speak, when the front two ramps just hurl themselves down under pressure, and you can peer out onto what is a hangar bay deck, and the Marines still standing there as if they were just standing by the bar in a bar, just indicate that everybody is supposed to head down those ramps.
Slowly, Kara stands up and, looking around her at them, she wanders down. Still, she the bag that's full of puke in her hand, she hands it to one of them as she goes. If he takes it, he takes it. If not, it's getting dropped. I don't know how it's going to happen here, but
he takes it from her. The four Marines follow the group down the ramp, and as they get down to the bottom, with a sort of flick of his wrist, he just throws the bag out towards the side of the huge hangar bay, essentially where the opening to vacuum will be when the doors are open next.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Makes sense.
I think so.
Yeah, and you are standing in a pressurized vacuum bay area. This is not actually the big open vacuum bay area on the side of the ship. You've apparently flown through that and into one of the landing or maintenance bays inside. The doors have closed and sealed, and you're in a relatively small space, given that you're dealing with a significant amount of ship. It largely fills this space. And as you come down the ramp, the Marines form up in a sort of row behind you and just walk you towards the internal bulkhead. And even as you're approaching it, you see it open, and out through it, completely relaxed, walks someone you know quite well, Officer Pramus.
Oh, thank goodness it's Pramus.
And I think that's a good time to take our break.
I'm just glad you did pause with someone you well know.
Sever.
Yeah, Sever. Sever. The gardener's mother. Right, on that Pramusy bombshell, we're going to take a 5-minute break, toilet, drink, and so on. We will be back for the commemorative Greyhall Bass toast and the start of the second half in about 5 minutes. So please hang around and we shall see you all then. Once I've clicked on the 17 different things. Hang on. We'll get rid of that. We'll mute us. There we go.
From the ashes of empire, a new hope beyond man. The Trinity. Mirai, Thren, and human now bound as sisters, the first interspecies alliance embarks on a journey to build a better future. Old ghosts and new threats loom, Cold darkness and cruel light threaten to engulf the fringes of the frontier at the flare of an engine. But rejoice, my friends, for only from the darkness may we see the stars.
As a bonus break
As long
time,
as he doesn't mind spoilers.
spoilers, Mr. Leno. We're assuming he because it's Mr. Leno, but I apologise if not. Earth Park is a magical place that is literally an Earth-themed theme park. It's spread over a number of peaks. You go over there in a dirigible. I didn't think we'd ever have a space adventure in an airship. In fact, Agnar can fly one, can't he, Ewan?
He can, well, potentially.
Potentially, if we need,
He's
if
better
we need it.
suited than the rest of us, I think.
If we need it, he can fly it. And it lands you there, and you start in this little wood that they've sort of grown some trees, and then there's lots of human barbecue with just generic meat. Which,
not quite human barbecue.
Not quite human barbecue.
Something close.
It's some kind of meat. Everything's a little bit off though. So like on the stages they're doing Shakespeare, but just doing like a best of, like all the quotes one after another from the different stuff. There's some weird gymnastic dancing that seems to be split from like hundreds of years worth. And then there is a beautiful beach, to be honest, which you can go and sunbathe on and drink and have an ice cream and that. And then a cable car takes you across to 3 or 4 different peaks. Agnar, isn't it just? And it's got like a little augmented reality thing, which Agnar absolutely loved capturing every single creature. They're in domed out spaces below you, so you stand safely and you can see them in a massive space below you. And it's one of them is what are the different spaces, Ewan? It was your favourite spot.
We're going to have to wait for them to come round now. I know the Fragrant Forest is where you start off in the forest.
It is a magical place. We and Agnar bought us annual passes so we can come back every day for a year.
Exactly.
I don't know why. With catching Mr. Leno up, Ben, on Earth Park.
Yeah. If you're interested as to why, he's coming to terms with that friendly, happy-go-lucky, your manager is your friend type relationship that he wasn't allowed to do in the army. And obviously he's nobody's manager, but he feels as though it's a good way to make friends and try to treat people a little bit more. Well, when Daddy Agnar mode is activated,
yes, which it has
everyone
been
to the next group.
Fair point.
It has been activated, Ben. You missed it. Daddy Agnar mode got activated.
Mm-hmm.
Did it?
Yeah. So Daddy Agnar bought everyone tickets. So Cara bought everyone t-shirts and caps. That's why the Daddy Agnar icon is him in a little Earth Park baseball cap, basically. And then we went to what were the 3 main sections, Ben? There's 3 big animal sections.
Carnivore Caves and Therium Terraces and Reptile Rocks, I think it is.
There we go.
Yeah. It's a wonderful place, though.
It is a wonderful place. Except
it is a magical place.
Was it direwolves?
Direwolves.
The direwolves. Yeah.
But there is one creature that isn't on the list of creatures that you can see. There's 2 massive, great big megalodons in the middle of the lake in the middle, and one of them nearly killed us in one episode. I think it's no, not Bigfoot. Although it might be. It hasn't been spotted, so you never know. 2 massive megalodons that episode, I feel it was like episode 9 or something. It's in the sort of the highlights. If you go back into the into our channel, every episode we have I save as a highlight. You can go through, and it's the one where we need a bigger boat. It's that one.
A much bigger boat.
A much bigger boat. Yeah. And that is the one where we get hot megalodon action. Which I say hot, I nearly died. I think Sarai was one bad dice roll. I'm literally dying in the middle of a lake. So
that was a fun episode. Actually, I liked it.
Cara's heart attack. I've got to draw a megalodon. No! Oh! I don't know. Hang on. Let me get. I've got my daughter's Sharpies. Hang on.
That is good.
That is timing.
Good timing again.
Sake.
I have to say.
That's so...
every time.
I've got some colours. Hang on. I'll tell you what we need to do. Let's come at a break. That means I need to put camera on now, doesn't it? Right, there we go. Right, hang on. Right, Megalodon. Here we go. Do. Right,
remember to charge your glasses.
Yes. Absolutely.
Let's get some water. La, la, la. Da, 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 da. I'll do it from Cara, from Sarai's point of view.
From Sarai's point of view.
Oh no, I've just made it look like a frog. Oh no.
Right. Well, one of the things we do is every time we play, we have a little tradition of raising a glass in a toast. So while Luke is desperately fighting with his art materials,
I've gone too many colours. I've gone a bit over the top. I should have just done one colour.
And yeah, there are a number of buttons you can press that make us do all sorts of ridiculous and embarrassing things. I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that. That was a mistake. Anyway, the point is,
Death comes. I will.
The point is, we had an NPC who died through. I'm tempted to say misadventure, but in reality, it was through utter carelessness on the part of the players, and accordingly, that's not bad. I like that.
I've done all right.
And when he died, there were a whole series of reasons, but ultimately, we toast every time we play. We raise a glass. So, well, everyone, please charge their glasses and raise a toast to the late great Grehil Bast.
Yeah. To the great Grehil Bast.
Ooh, it's a funny looking drink.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers indeed. Okay, so we resume the matter with your group standing sandwiched between Pramus, who looks as stern as she always does, not actually evil, but certainly, pretty self-composed, and for extraordinarily heavily armed and armoured Marines. And as she looks at the group, and she says, "Ah, a new one, I see. Zodani." And Zoe smiles slightly and says, "Zoe for short." It gets a little bit of a smirk, and then she turns back to the group and says, "So, what have you got for me?"
Cara reaches into her inside pocket and pulls out the massive, I guess, gaffer tape and loo roll and whatever else we gathered together, bits of foam and stuff, whatever I could pull out of the bathroom. And
peanuts.
bit of some of Agnar's fur when he wasn't paying attention. And walks over to it with her and says, "This was planted on us by a gentleman who I don't know if you know or not, but we were unaware of it at the time, and he turned out he was listening in for that entire day, and he listened to our communication yesterday on the boat when you because she, as an aside, she briefly, we had a brief communication, didn't we? It wasn't a big one. It's like, come on, you need to be doing something kind of thing. So he knows we're in communication with you. We scanned and we found out that we were bugged, so we sort of did what we could. We faked that we were going somewhere else, wrapped it up. If it's a high quality bug, there's not too much we can do about it. But we wanted to get it up here that you could look at, maybe, hand it over to you, because we think it's someone who's out of our pay grade, if that makes sense.
Agnar will just chip in on the end of that and just say, full disclosure, we think he's Zudani, some form of military, but he's posing on world as a scientist of all things.
Okay. When you say some sort of military,
Cara will turn to Zoe and sort of, because I remember back on the ship, she sort of offered us some information about him, which I can give, but I'm sort of giving that sort of moment, that half raise to see if she wants to offer it before Kara does.
Okay. No, she does not. It turns out.
Okay. We know him as Anton Fess. Other people know him as Mattis Fess. He's known on the planet as Mattis Fess. He's Zidani, and we ran into him at a starport. We knew nothing about him, and he offered our geologist some work, which we took. We needed the money, but the more we found out about him, the dodgier he seemed. We scarpered, and he's a soldier. From what we know of, he's a soldier in the Zidani Commandos. He progressed from there potentially, and it's got to be assumed that he is potentially psionic and able to at least read minds or, get that vibe about people, like many in the Zidani, higher up military police and such are, really.
Primus thinks about it for a second and says, "You people have a talent for accumulating enemies that is beyond anything I've ever seen."
Agnar says, "Don't even get me started on that guard at the gate." Sort of misreads the situation a bit, I guess.
Oh.
Okay. Well, you've dealt with the bug. I'm going to make an assumption. You're heading back down to the surface anytime, right?
Kara sort of relaxed a bit too much, and she'll be like, "Yeah, we're just about to go, and we could do some shopping if you want us to get you anything special."
No, thank you. I'm good. You could do me a quick favor, though.
Okay.
I need you to transport a prisoner down to the surface, if that's all right.
Would it require us transporting them onto the naval base down there? Because I don't think they like us very much.
I don't think you're going to find that a problem.
Okay.
And yes.
Would you be able to tell us why they're a prisoner, what they've done?
Well, yes, they poisoned to death the governor of Austin.
I knew exactly that's going to be. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that poisoner. Oh.
That sounds. I mean, we were quite close to that situation. It's unnerved me a little bit, but I'm sure we could. Manage.
Sure. I'll just send her over here to be added to the ship on the way down. If there's nothing else, I should really get back.
Agnar will say, if you're at all worried about this person and it helps at all, we do have a fishing trip of all things planned with them tomorrow. We should be on a boat. We'll be heading to a few coves. Through a mutual friend of ours and Anton Fess's. He's arranged for him to take us out on the sea. If not, then that's pretty much useless information, I suppose. But at least you know what we'll be up to tomorrow.
Okay, try to be careful. Try not to, give away anything important. And if you can, keep an eye on Sever.
He has been in touch. We've got we've got something we're working on. The fact that, as you can see, our ship is now near yours has affected our plans somewhat, but we'll make sure what you and he want sorted gets sorted.
Good enough. All right, troops, get him out of here. And in seconds, you are now being ushered back towards the dropship by the Marines. Yep. And they cheerfully steer you up the ramp, but this time the ramp doors do not close. There is a wait while the 4 Marines stand around inside, keeping a weather eye, just checking to make sure you're not spray painting anything, or that sort of thing.
They've seen the vlogs.
And they know it. God. I've got viewers at least.
It's a few minutes wait before, and the Marines stay completely silent through this. If they're talking to each other on their closed circuit radios, you can't tell, of course, but they're not talking to you. And a couple of uniformed but not armored military police guards arrive at the bottom of the ramp and drag up between them a woman. And they just drag her through to the front, sit her down in one of the seats. She's restrained in cuffs, and they strap her in, turn to the Marines and say, "You're prisoner," and smartly turn around and march back out down the ramp. The nearest Marine sort of gives a little shrug of his shoulders, like he thinks he can take her in a fight, and the ramp doors close. And moments later, suddenly there's that familiar lurch as the ship starts to make its acceleration away from its docking point. And you recognize the woman, of course.
We do. The most innocent woman on this ship.
Yes, but you know her.
Oh! Does Stefan know her?
I'm pretty sure you all do. I think you were all there when you met her. I think so. Yeah, you bought some poison from her in a shop.
Oh.
The friendly old couple
Oh,
who sold us poison for our rat problem.
It's the shop owner that sold us poison. Oh dear. Sarai will make sure she's snuggled up slightly into Stefan to try and carry on that story of being a married couple. Even though it's... I'm guessing she's not paying too much attention there, right? You said she's sort of a bit browbeaten and head down kind of handcuffs.
She was when she sat down, but as soon as the ship's moving, she's, looking up and around and, just taking in where she is. And it doesn't take her very long for her eyes to light on you lot. And she seems to hold for a second to decide what on earth she's going to do or say. And then she starts just yelling and shouting, "Those are the ones! Those are the ones! They poisoned the governor! They poisoned the governor!" These Marines, you understand, are in their powered armor, so unless they deliberately move, they might as well be statues. But there is literally no reaction whatsoever from them.
Cara will say, "Behave yourself. I was outside the room when that all went down."
It's a fair point.
Get a grip.
Can Stefan turn to one of the guards and just quickly say, what's to become of her, the murderer, but not make eye contact with her?
You can't actually see his eyes. You understand? They're behind.
No, sorry, with the lady.
Right. He says she'll remain in custody on the surface until she can face trial. and then executed.
He sort of just stays a bit silent for a minute. He says, "Oh, good to know the streets. The streets will be a bit safer."
Carl tried to sit next to her. Would she be stopped from sitting next to her?
Nope. No, the guards are, it's fair to say, not particularly panicked.
I get they're big, beefy boys and beefy armor. There's nothing that we can do, is there really? So it don't matter.
There's nothing on this ship that frightens them. No.
Kara sits next to her for a while, and as the ranting goes on or whatever.
Yeah, she's still. I mean, eventually she runs out of puff, if you know what I mean. But she is looking accusingly at everyone except Zoe, who she doesn't know.
Gara will say to her, "What did you think of the governor?"
Well, I didn't think he should be murdered.
Knowing the situation you're in and what's to come of you, is there anyone or anything you'd like me to get a message to?
Maybe if you could arrange for the people who actually committed the crime to come forward and confess, that would be helpful.
Is there anything else you'd like me to...
That pretty much covers it. That's
yeah.
the lot. That's the only thing I really need.
Do you owe anyone any money? Does your family owe anyone any money?
Only the guild, but you know, if you work there, you owe the guild.
What's your first and surname?
Carmen Velas.
How do you spell that? Sorry.
Velas.
V-E-L. And Carmen as in Carmen Miranda?
Indeed.
Do you have a husband or children?
I've got a family.
Okay. 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 And then Kara sort of walks away, thinking. The thinking is that some money could go in that direction, but knows that at that time, it's a very little thing to offer. Do you know what I mean? It feels dirty, it feels grubby, but she took the name so that potentially in the future, you know, something could be done. Because as a group, we are guilty of it. So, and she knows it, we know it, but you know, we'll worry about that in the future. And then...
Yeah. Okay. So,
sorry, just quickly to carry on the conversation with Stefan and the guard. I didn't realise it at the time, but I would like to. Can he just ask? So when's the illustrious trial to begin?
no idea. Months, I guess.
I suppose, yeah, these things take time and red tape. And presumably it's on world. Is
Yeah.
the what house?
It'll be on world or it'll be on the naval base.
Ah, okay. That's all he was really interested in. So, okay, we'll keep an ear to the ground for justice to be served.
Oh, it will be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure It won't take long. She's guilty as hell. She'll be executed the day of the trial, I'm sure.
Well, thank you for your service in bringing a known criminal to justice. And he'll sort of, just take out his device and start typing away.
Okay. Tell me he's not adding convicted criminal to the list of animals he collected at Worthmore.
There's a screenshot of her to add to that.
Yeah, can we have Megalodon and convicted murderer added to the list of animals you can see at Earth Park? Well, she's human. Ish.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, okay. Once again, the journey is not designed to be comfortable. It's abrupt rather than elegant. But the sorry, I just read that comment.
Exactly. Oh, is that how they do it on Giikur? They sort of let you have a lovely morning, like a last meal with the earth meat, an hour on the beach, and then
the barbecue you can eat,
and then drop you into dire wolves. Exactly. Oh.
Fantastic. Okay, so yes, it is a very, very smooth landing, though. Clearly, the pilot has sobered up, and the landing it's fast. Clearly, it's still a bump, but it's much nicer than either the takeoff or the landing you had before. And again, the ramps spring down instantly. Slam. The two of the Marines pretty much pick up Velas and just carry her down the ramp. Technically, she might be walking a bit, but they don't notice or care. The power of their armor is such that they genuinely wouldn't be able to tell if her feet ever touched the ground, if you see what I mean. And she is hustled out the door, and the other two stay inside to, wave everybody out.
My two follow the guards and the prisoner.
Okay. As you emerge, you find that you are in fact in the naval base. The craft has landed in an open area between some buildings. It's not like a parade ground or anything. Wouldn't land a naval craft on a parade ground, obviously. But it is a fairly large open area that's dotted with small, low buildings around it. There are people in uniform traveling in all directions, randomly meandering about on their daily business. And as soon as you all sort of get to the bottom of the ramp, the two Marines just literally hold out an arm and sort of point you towards the south and say, "Exits that way. Have a nice day." And then they stomp back aboard the landing craft. The ramps don't close, however, presumably waiting for the other two to return after they drop off their prisoner.
Okay. Do we see which direction they headed?
Yes, in exactly the other direction, towards the northern tip, basically, of the peak.
Cool. And if Agnar were to estimate, I mean, I know he's not a Navy man, but he presumably would have been around army bases of a similar size. And
much bigger as well, yeah.
What sort of numbers personnel are we talking?
It looks like it's not very densely packed. Like they've got quite a large area of land, but they haven't really packed in the people. If you were guessing, no more than about 5 to 10,000 at any one time, and most of them barracked in prefabs and temporary accommodation.
Okay.
It kind of looks like the place you'd put people if you were changing ships, almost. You know, if you're waiting a couple of weeks for your new ship to come in, you'd crash down here for a while.
Yeah, if there was an army base a few miles from Disneyland, it would be that sort of size.
Sure.
I guess, you know, it's a tourist world, isn't it? Realistically speaking, but I guess
That-
it's a
that's-
transit world.
That's
as well.
pretty much what they, what they do. I've always assumed there must be an army base in Disneyland, but I've never been, so I don't know.
I think it's behind one of those doors on Main Street. They do little. The internet does websites where they show the secrets of Disney for secret groups. Yeah, definitely military.
Okay. Zoe is immediately seeming a little more relaxed. She's a bit more cheerful. She's beginning to smile a bit. You know, it's a bit less subdued than it was when she was immediately in the presence of those Marines.
Okay.
I don't know whether to try and push for stuff in the base or just assume that we might find some in Old Town. I think Kara would probably want to put it all behind her, if that makes sense. The base. I don't know how Agnar's feeling. He's sort of back amongst his people.
Well, he certainly. I mean, I suppose it's dragging him back into that military frame of mind, perhaps more than he normally is with you guys. Well, us not. He'll probably walk towards the exit, I would imagine, but sort of look around to the group and. Is there anything else we want to do?
Kara runs up, sort of nudges his arm, sort of barging into it with the elbow a little bit, and says, "All right, the second we're through that gate, Navy Agnar for this trip gone. Daddy Agnar's back, yeah. We've got. It's always bubbling on. We've got an artsy bohemian part of town to enjoy. And you owe me the hair of the dog."
Agnar will say, "It's always Daddy Agnar with you guys."
Oh,
It's that guy on the gate that I've got problems with. As soon as we've walked off this base and I've flipped him off, Daddy Agnar's back.
The return of Daddy Agnar.
Now let's go.
Okay. You make your way towards the gate, just meandering between the various buildings, and it's a fairly straightforward walk. Nobody seems to interfere with you. Everyone's got their own business. You can almost still see the dropship behind you when you get to the gate, but not quite. You know, the last couple of turns before you reach the gate put the dropship out of sight. You find the gate, this time with the two guards are standing off to one side slightly, and they seem to be having an in-depth conversation with a senior officer who he doesn't seem all that happy. Something seems to have irritated him. But he is, other than that, he is, the gate is just there and closed. And as soon as you arrive, the one who is less being shouted at charges over to pull the gate open and gives a he's sort of in the process of giving a salute and then realizes you're civilians and stops and just nods. He seems a bit jumpy this time. He was more relaxed the last time you saw him.
As Agnar walks through, he'll just sort of turn to both of them and say, "Good day," and just turn and wander off.
Is Agnar not the most British of all characters there's ever been? The most passive aggressive day.
Well,
yeah, he's almost paralysed by Britishness. It is a problem. So yes, okay. So you meander off towards you're heading back towards the middle of the peak.
I guess we got no bug, no care in the world. We've got to get back to the hotel at some point.
Yeah. To the hotel?
Yeah. Let's head back to the hotel.
Okay. Fair enough. You head back to the transport hub.
Go on then, Ewan.
As we get to a transport hub, potentially.
Oh, you changing your background? That's not very sneaky. It's not very sneaky.
A shameless plug. It's not very sneaky, but we just got to a train. Please go ahead while I faff around.
I think you need some sunglasses and a hat and a false moustache for the future as well.
Yeah, quite possibly.
So, I don't know why I called it Stefan Sneaky Masterclass. It's hardly a masterclass.
He's sneaking off the beach to the train station.
And graffitied on that train if you bend down? It's Cara!
Would you believe it?
Where did you get that from?
He snuck it in.
Oh, that is worth
it. Amazing.
That is worth.
Actually got reverse Cara graffiti.
Reverse Cara.
Oh, is it reversed?
Yeah. Well, it is for me.
On my
it may not
screen,
be for everyone. I don't know.
It is on them. It is. Reversed.
Note to self, don't flip images because they appear reversed on your screen.
Oh.
That is tremendous. Okay.
It's brought some joy to my eyes.
You make your way down and you're basically retracing your route. Do you want to get off at the same stop as you got on last time, or do you want to aim for the nearer one?
Can Stefan just keep an eye out as we're on the train and just see if there's anyone paying undue attention to us?
Certainly can. Can you roll a streetwise check for me, please, with intellect?
Yes. That's an 8 plus 2 is 10.
Oh.
Okay. You can't be certain, but you get the feeling there is someone at the other end of the train car you're in who's paying a little bit of attention.
Okay. He'll message the group and just inform everybody. There's someone down the train who's paying a bit too much attention to us. As they're on the train, I don't suppose it matters what stop we get off, but we could split the party and one get off at one stop and one get off at the other stop, if we want to try and lose them.
While we're making that decision, and just because you've all been spending points, Ewan, I want a joke from you. I want an after-hours stand-up joke from you.
Oh, why would you do that? Well, what do you get when you cross a joke with a rhetorical question?
I don't know.
So we're on the tune.
I'm not selecting you again.
I know that's the. I'm sure there's a saying about doing things badly and not getting asked to do them again.
Yeah. Well, I do have themed limericks if people want them. But I do promise you that they're not good, and some of them relate to things that were pre-stream, so you won't understand all of the details.
That joke was terrible. You're right. Poor form.
He's not wrong.
Okay. So, are you splitting your party as things head off?
Yes. So I would imagine Soraya and Stefan, Kara and Agnar, and whichever way Zoe fancies falling, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we get to the first station. The doors open. Soraya will sort of go to jump off, start, pulling Stefan in the way she sort of does, and says, this is mine." And Stefan, stop, and sort of makes to go. Does Zoe feel like
Okay.
joining us, or does she feel like staying?
Let's find out. Zoe is going to stay with Kara for the time being.
Their room is.
So wherever Kara goes, Zoe's going with her.
I feel the need for another video vlog in the posh part of town.
Cool. So we'll
Okay.
get off.
Right, you get off. The person you spotted, though, plenty of people get off at the station. The person you spotted is not among them.
Okay.
And the next stop.
Can Stefan waves as he goes past? Are we in the right direction of the carriage? Was he on the right end of the carriage, I should say?
Yes, you were all ahead of the person. So if you want to sort of wave at the person as they go past on the train, sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. If the person notices, there's no reaction.
Okay.
Oh, they've been made.
Okay. So let's get everyone off the train before we deal with the split party. So next stop.
That'd be us, I guess. The other side of that part of town, isn't it? The other side of Lata, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess that's the others coming. So Kara.
Okay.
Is Agnar coming with?
Well, I don't know. He's tempted to stay on.
You can stay on.
It's a long way back round though, but at least we'll narrow down who he's following.
Do you want to stay on? We could, yeah.
Okay.
But Kara is Zoe that's staying with Kara, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Zoe's decided just to stay with Kara, just in case.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kara will grab him and say, "Come on, let's go shopping."
Agnar will stay on the train and he'll just do a big old loop round and get off at the first time. It's a loop, isn't it? It's a loop.
It's loop shaped, but it's a single line, so it has a terminus at each end.
Oh, okay. He'll just take it to the next stop then and see what the guy on the train does.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So, the guy on the train gets off with Kara and Zoe.
Okay. Agnar will he'll message Soraya and Stefan, or probably the whole group, and just say, I carried on, the guy got off, Kara and Zoe could potentially use some help.
Okay. All right. So, Kara and Zoe, I mean, Kara's still feeling a little bit the worse for wear, but it's mostly now a headache, I think, rather than anything more serious. And Zoe's just staying with her. It isn't clear yet if she's even spotted the guy you were talking about, because obviously it's been a bit vague so far, like there's a dude.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do?
The part of town we're in, are we more likely to be by shops or restaurants? What if I'm looking ahead with a couple of buildings either side, and I want to dive in a shop? What am I looking at?
You are in what you might call the business heart of this peak of Lata. So it's densely packed, narrow streets with a lot of quite smart but arty businesses, restaurants. It's a fairly pricey, fairly smart, but a bit eclectic kind of area.
Is there a shop nearby that looks like it'd do art supplies or something like that. Like high quality a pen. Nice pens or something fancy like that.
Yeah, can you roll streetwise for me, please, with intellect?
All right, that's why I keep them warm. 10. No, hang on.
10. There is what appears to be a technical and craft supply shop, which also seems to serve as a set of walls for hanging commercial modern art.
Knowing that they're being followed, and also seeing the chance to have a browse at the things she's interested in, Kara sort of grabs Zoe and says, I've got a sudden urge to get myself something special from Giikur to, for my art. And just hikes her into the art building. And if there is the chance to, once she's in, she'll sort of hustle back as quickly as possible to try and browse in a way that's looking outwards, if that makes sense, but from far enough back that, she's not by the doorway.
Okay. Yes. Fair enough. The
Browsing. All right. A lovely picture.
Oh, a green pen.
I would like you to roll a stealth check with Dex, and I'm going to do the same for Zoe.
Haven't had a green pen for a while. Blue, a lot of blues, a lot of reds, but not greens. Stealth and Dex, and that's a big fat 0, isn't it? Yeah, it really is. Oh, it's a shame no one's got enough money to get me a boon yet. 5. She trips over a stand and sends the pen spring. Oh no.
Between the two of you, you really make a hash of this. Yeah. In trying to sort of subtly glance around and not look like you're paying attention, you are in fact not paying attention. You walk into each other, you bounce off the wall. It is a really clumsy display of incompetence.
What a team.
And now you've run into the slight problem that everybody's looking at you. So it's now relatively hard to tell if somebody's paying attention because everybody is.
Cara will just hold her hand up amongst all the, I guess they're quite well-to-do people in this part of town, the business people. So, don't mind me, professional artist, drinking last night, not midday yet. Yet you guys still buy my paintings for tens of thousands of credits. And blagging it a little bit because I don't know if she's probably, that's not her style of art, but, trying to sell that whole thing. And then sort of goes to just trying to brush it off to start browsing away.
Okay. There's a sort of general look of, I don't think anyone in here would pay tens of thousands of credits, but it's more just, they're just letting you know where you fit in the pecking order.
She knows full well where she fits in the pecking order, sadly.
Can you roll streetwise for me or recon, whichever is your preference with intellect?
They're both 0, at least. Intellect, you say? Okay, we like intellect. Intellect's a good one. Oh, I'm feeling very arty right now. Intellect, let's see what we got. +2, was that? It is a 6 +2. It's a flat 8, if that's enough.
Okay. You don't, as you're sort of manoeuvring yourself around, seem to catch sight of the person who might have been following you. However, Zoe quietly sort of leans in over Kara's shoulder and sort of whispers into her ear, I've got him. He's outside, other side of the street.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Kara will sort of lean over, get a fancy a pen that even she winces at the price of, and sort of looks it up and down, and she's like, does he seem to be watching, or at least sort of watching through a reflection, or sort of waiting for us?
You haven't actually made him. for whatever reason your angle isn't right, or you.
That's what I
you
meant.
haven't
I asked it of Zoe. That's a question she asked of Zoe. I know Cara
Oh, I
didn't
see.
him.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So Zoe says he's reading his communicator.
Yeah. What's he look like?
Young, bald, fit looking. If I didn't know any better, I'd suggest that's what they look like when you peel the armor off those bloody big Marines.
Hmm. Cara sort of picks up the second pen, sort of considers it as if she's sort of feeling the weight, sensing the vibe of it. She's like, well, he's clearly going to follow us wherever we go now. You got. Let's see. Let's wait for Agnar and see if we can lose him, because short of me starting a fire alarm or something, I don't think we're getting out of here at the minute. But we could be in worse places. And she sort of drags Zoe towards the back to look at some fancy old school notebooks and papers.
Okay. All right. Well, while they're doing that, let's focus our energies on Soraya and Stefan.
Perfect.
Now, you guys have bundled out of the tube stop, still on Lata, but at the dam side.
Yes. We are. So we are, and we've been given a free. Are you still there, Ewan? You've become a circle of light, a ball of energy.
I'm indeed still with you.
You've transcended to your better self.
Plus, yeah, my more visually pleasing self.
I like it. Was that one of the options people could have? Transcend Ewan.
Turn Ewan into circle.
Oh, I'd pick that all the time. I guess they've got a clear run of it, so it depends. Do we want to get back to the hotel and sort things out there, or do we want to do anything? That's basically what Soraya would be asking Stefan at this point. We've got no one watching, so we could get back to the hotel. You know.
It's essentially up to you guys. Which way do you want to pick?
What do we want to go for?
Stefan will say, let's. I mean, it's one guy, right? I think they can handle themselves.
They've proven it many times before.
Should we try the hotel then?
To the hotel.
Okay. You start to make your way towards the hotel. Do you want to just follow the coast straight up?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we take the most linear route. Unless there's anything. Soraya, do you want to stop in anywhere on the way up?
Nope. She's looking forward to getting back, meeting our tour guide, and enjoying an eclectic rest of day.
Abusing Tim a little bit.
Well, you know, if he's there, it might be a different Tim.
Other Tims are available. So, fair enough. You start to make your way towards the Hotel Coronet. Okay. And let's quickly catch up with Agnar. Is Agnar getting off at the very next station, or is he going further on?
No, he'll jump off at Rita, is it? And
Rena.
Change. Yeah, Rena. Sorry. Yeah. And change platforms and head back the other direction to try and catch up with Cara and Zoe. He'll also, as he's going, he'll message and he'll just say, "I'm on my way back to you. Let me know where you are. Keep me informed where you are."
Fair enough. Okay, all right. So you have no difficulty at all. You're kind of going against the throng, but it's not peak hours here, so it's not difficult to step off into the middle of the platform and just cross over and wait for the train coming the other way. There is a few minutes wait, but it'll arrive shortly, and you just hop straight on. So, moving back, cutting back to Kara.
Kara's about to drop about 5,000 credits on art supplies, much to Zoe's horror. She's literally got arms full of stuff.
And there's all pens. There's no graffiti.
Some pens. But it feels a bit high art, and it's rare that she ends up in a shop like this. She's got some nice notebooks, some nice ones that have almost tried to be papyrusy almost, some mulchy paper ones, some beautiful sketchbooks she's got. She's gone for a fancy green pen because, she's short of the green pen. And she's even gone for some sort of quite ancient style inky brushes. Almost like Asian style inky brushes or something. She's trying her hand. She's always liked the idea of it. And she's like, well,
all right.
I feel that with our meetings happening, she'll turn to say, I feel that with these meetings going on with Deep Night and that, I get a vibe that soon there's going to be many weeks spent travelling, so I might as well develop my skills.
Okay.
So she grabs that and she drops her 5,000, which in anyone's money is quite a large amount on supplies of an artistic supply, and tries to get them in sort of in the bags and this and that. But she's feeling very arted up.
Okay. For that kind of money, you can really stock up on stuff. Yeah,
that's good. But
this will be high-end material as well.
Yeah, it's the highbrow stuff. She's got all her graffiti cans and that, but she's branching out. She's trying to get some, showing off a little bit. And why not? I ended up in this shop. Might as well buy something.
Buildings are not the only canvas.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Oh, Ewan. I was just pouring a drink there. If someone redeems Grey Hill, that means everyone has to drink, not just us three. It's everyone in chat, whether it's water, tea, or wine. It is a room drink.
To Grey Hill best.
To Grey Hill best.
To Grey Hill best.
Oh boy, I'm almost out of wine in that glass. I'm gonna have to top up while we go. Okay, so, all right.
I'm putting that
while this is going on, Zoe is surreptitiously but clearly keeping an eye on the door, let's say.
Oh, Ali's just redeemed Grey Hill best. I'm putting that price up next week.
You've got to at least limit.
You need to text the toast though. You need to text the toast though, Ali. We're hanging on your every word. I'm hanging on it for another 10 seconds, and then I'm just going to do it.
And then, yeah.
To Grey Hill.
To Grey Hill.
Oh yeah, that's getting doubled in price next week. Enjoy.
You mean in the fighting chance that we'll make it through reasonably sober?
Enjoy it while you got it. Oh, Mr. Leno's named an NPC as well. Oh, he's dropped 800. Fair play. That is good. Jeremiah Van Cotswolds. Add it to the list. I'm looking for.
I will have to make a note.
Oh, we haven't met our tour guide yet.
Oh, that's very true. That's very true.
JVC. Yeah. His family was in the electrics.
It's in the books.
It's in the books.
It's on my list of NPCs.
It's going to become canon. That's quite exciting. It's going to go into my official encyclopedia. I could have gone with the drinks.
Right, getting back onto the.
Yeah.
Zoe is keeping track outside, trying to be reasonably subtle about it, and she sends a message out to everybody, which says he's still outside the shop, and gives the address to everybody.
Perfect. Whenever it comes around to, Agnar will just, in the background, head towards that direction. I don't know how long it would take, but...
You're going to be about... We're talking about 5 minutes out, roughly.
Okay, perfect.
Now, the question is, and this is something that Cara will very much be texting between a little group chat between Zoe and Agnar. Do we think we're going to escape this guy, or do we just make it very obvious we've made him, and does he even care? That might just be he is following us from now on. You know. So do we try and evade, or do we just, you know, make peace with our lot?
Agnar will message back and say, I guess it depends who we think he is. If he's Anton's man, then we can do whatever we want, I suppose. Maybe not in public, but...
Cara will turn to Zoe, or sort of approach Zoe, I guess, who's further close to the door, with her bags full of shopping. And she'll say, is there any way to know, is there anything we could try to know the difference between it being a Navy man and a Fess man?
There's nothing that would give you a definitive answer.
Okay.
You'd have to have somebody basically come clean and tell you that they had...
You mean a confession?
I do mean that.
Yes.
I do mean that. That's
nobody even redeemed
the joke. I know it was too good for a joke redeem.
That one's going to go. No question about it. If my pun got you a boon, that's definitely getting a bone.
I think they cancel out. We never used that boon.
That's true. You can lose the boon instead.
That's fair.
Okay,
that's fair.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only way. Someone would have to inform you that, you know, what they were doing. Okay. So are you making a move to leave the shop, or are you just loitering until Agnar gets there?
See, Kara's style is to just be very in his face about it. And I'm glad the graffiti's changed. I'm enjoying that it's back to front. This is the right way around now, thank you. But she at least respects the other two enough to run it past them. She's like, look, if he is any sort of special forces, I'm not losing him. I don't know how good you guys are going to be at sort of turning us down alleyways. I've got half a mind just to approach him and see how it plays out. What are you thinking? But I'm open to better suggestions.
Okay, you get whatever the electronic equivalent of a shrug is from Zoe.
I want you to type that in.
Saying I'm en route. Let's get this guy. He'll pick up to a bit of a jog pace. He won't run because, you know, he's old.
He's 70. He can't just.
But he'll rush as much as a 42-year-old can. Not 70.
You made that
okay. All right. Okay, so if you guys are loitering, the guy basically just stays there. He's not overtly doing anything wrong, but the longer he just stands there, the more you're convinced this guy is watching you. The more confident you are that something is up here. He's maneuvered himself up against the wall of a building where, you know, there's a lot of people coming back and forth and doing things. So he's a little bit obscured from time to time by moving crowds, but he is still seeing a pretty good set of you. There are other people also loitering around, you understand, sitting on a bench here or in the front of a cafe there, but they don't seem quite so obviously just standing there. You see what I mean? And this situation will remain until Agnar actually hoves into view on the street. So how do you want to play it when Agnar gets here?
Can I just say, as Agnar gets halfway, can he just take a bit of a breather, catch his breath a little bit, and just say, can you message Pramis and see if she's got eyes on us?
Okay. Are you going to do that, Cara?
She will. She feels quite awkward because of the whole.
And then he'll pick it back up.
She's slightly worried about another dropship suddenly dropping down the middle of nowhere just for a very brief, dragged off for a brief conversation because Pramis can't be bothered to send a couple of messages our way. But
understandably so.
She'll say, "We got a lovely, attractive young bald man." Following us. Is he one of ours, or do we need to be concerned?
Okay. Can you roll 1d6 for me, please?
I can. I hope it's low. It's not low. It's a 5.
Okay. All right. You do not receive an immediate response from Pramis.
Okay. Cara's getting edgy. How far away are you, Agnar?
I mean, I don't know. He'll pick up the pace again until he hears anything back from anyone. But I mean, I guess the question is, do we get a response before Agnar arrives to where they roughly are?
No, you do not.
Okay.
So, in essence, Agnar has arrived. He can enter the street any way he likes. He's already got a vague idea of where things are. It's a fairly busy shopping street, a busy commercial street. There are cafes and bars. There are shops dotted around. It's not exactly a straight street either. It veers a little bit. It looks a bit artificial in that way, like it's been artificially broken up to stop it just looking like a straight drag.
Yeah. Okay. When he arrives on the square, he'll stop for a minute, mostly to catch his breath once again, and sort of message Cara and just say, "I'm going to take him down and look around and see if he can spot the guy."
Take him down.
Okay.
Take him down, question mark. That was exactly my response. Take him down, question mark, exclamation mark.
Yes, you can indeed. Having had him sort of pointed out and described to you, he's pretty obvious. He's paying no attention whatsoever to you. He's not really seeming to pay much attention to the shop either, because he's got his device in his hand, his communicator in his hand, and he's theoretically looking at that, but he doesn't seem to be manipulating that either. So it's as if he's just sort of frozen in place, waiting for something to happen.
Agnar will respond to Cara and just say, yeah, if you want to approach or leave the shop, I'll intercept him en route.
Okay. So does that mean Cara and Zoe are going to leave the shop and turn towards Agnar?
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's see if we can lead him into the beast's lair.
Okay.
I don't know why. I felt like, what's his name from Brooklyn Nine-Nine when I said that, the captain. But my tongue's not good enough to say beast's lair.
Okay. So Zoe and Cara leave the shop and they will turn right in order to head towards where Agnar is. The bald fellow is almost directly facing the shop on the other side of the road. So as you turn right, Are you going to be watching him to see what he does, or are you just going to assume that Agnar's got your back and we'll watch as he approaches?
Kara is going to start a vlog because she can hold the camera up and hopefully in such an angle stand a chance of seeing him in the background in some way. But in her way, she's going to nudge Zoe before it. This has been a very soft ramp to a Kara vlog, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hi, this is Kara Lasker. I'm here in the posh part of Lata. I've just dropped a disgusting amount of money on overpriced art, half of which I will give away. I'm going to call it, I'll do a video review of it, my haul. It's called a haul, I believe, on Instagram and that. We'll do a video review of my haul, and half of it
You're going to do an unboxing video.
I'll do an unboxing of my haul, and I'll give away half of it to one lucky fan. All you got to do is subscribe, 730 credits a month, and you may have a chance to win this. With me is the most beautiful friend I know. It is Zoe. Can you say hello, Zoe?
Zoe sort of looks blankly at it and goes, "Hello."
Zoe is a wonderful person. She's here today. We're doing a lot of shopping. We're building our haul. Remember, subscribe for a chance to win some of this haul. I'm going to unbox it later. And as she's saying that, of course, she's then angling the camera as she's talking, sort of quite loudly around, trying to make sure there's a chance. It's not going to be a guaranteed chance, but a chance that she might be able to half see him as she walks towards Agnar.
Okay. Right. So, okay. While this is happening, what's Agnar doing?
I very much envision this as Agnar tracking the guy who has been clearly following us, and he'll start to, jog towards him, not sprint, but Sunday fun runner out for a jog through the Bohemian shopping district, and just jog towards him until he gets reasonably close.
That's lovely.
Fair enough. I'm going to ask Agnar to roll an athletics dexterity check, please.
Well, that's not too bad. With dexterity.
Yeah, dexterity, please. And I need Kara to roll a stealth with dex.
Oh, no.
Ooh. Does Agnar get athletics, dexterity, and dexterity, or just?
Exactly. Yes, you get your athletics brackets dexterity plus your dexterity. Yeah.
Cool.
Can I make a traveller, the sort of request that Traveller is so wonderful for, Ben?
Oh, now you see, you're now getting to the point where you're almost going to start blowing smoke up my arse because you want to roll against something different, don't you?
I do. Why am I roll? Is it because Is it because I'm trying to look through the camera at him, or because I'm trying not to draw attention that I'm doing it? I guess
it's because you're trying to not give away the fact that the only reason you're holding up the camera is so that you can see him.
I think I know where you're going, Luke.
I was trying to bring comms, the use of the phone, the holding up of the phone is hey, I'm it's a comms thing. I know what I'm doing. My wrist's in the right place. I know, I'm a vlogger with literally tens of followers.
I can't give you that. I can give you deception with dex rather than stealth with dex.
That makes no difference to me. Okay. They're both as bad as each other.
Okay.
Agnar got an 8 plus 2.
Okay, that's a 10. Kara?
Kara's hit a flat 6.
A flat 6. Okay. And... Okay. All right. So, this may actually work out in your favour to an extent. Kara's attempt to make this come across as really subtle and organic and what have you seems to have not really worked. The guy who's the bald guy you've been paying attention to is now walking in the same direction as Kara and Zoe, but he is not walking behind them on their side of the street. He's staying on the opposite side of the street, and he's staying almost parallel with them, so that he's not in line of your camera. He's twigged what you're doing, or at least what you might be doing, and he's decided to stay out of shot. However, in doing so, that means he's looking sort of sideways rather than straight up.
Oh.
Now, your athletics dexterity has been good, so you're getting in there. That's an opposed check. That's fine. Okay, right. Are you planning to effectively grab hold of him when you get there? Are you going to bundle into him or something?
Yeah, I mean, as Agnar gets close, he'll pick up the pace, and he just wants to tackle him straight to the ground, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. As he does,
It's been a while since we've done something stupid.
Yeah, it feels it.
as
Actually.
he does, a young woman literally walking out of a cafe to the right, or getting up from an outside table at a cafe to the right, takes a pace back and he bumps into her and knocks her flying. But with that dexterity roll, he absolutely keeps going, stays on his feet, and crashes
Does he take out the woman?
You've got to be careful of his hip.
crashes into the bald guy. Now, even though you're not necessarily trying to do major combat, that's an attack, please.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you roll initiative?
Yes, I certainly can.
Dexterity or intellect plus your your roll, obviously.
That's a 6 plus 2. It's 8.
An 8. Okay.
Threes.
Oh, wow, you have very much got initiative. Okay, so you hit him. You completely take him by surprise. What are you doing? Unarmed attack or something?
Hang on, I'm going to put Agnar's combat bar in. I haven't put the combat bar in for a very long time.
Oh,
There it is. Oh, the combat bar. Get him.
Could this be considered a natural melee?
Yes, if you'd like it to be, you absolutely can. use
Without,
your natural-
I'm not talking claws here. I just want to pin him to the ground. I suppose that could be done with claws, but non-damaging.
Yes, you're actually not looking to hurt him, or at least not much.
Yeah. As
Okay.
little as possible.
You can take a +1 attack on melee. You've actually got advantage here, which will translate to a boon as well.
Ooh. And I've got natural melee 1.
Okay, you've got natural melee 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are +1 to hit 2d6, and you can take strength or dex as your characteristic, whichever you prefer.
Well, that's good. He will not be doing it in a
Not strength.
based way. Let's say 5 plus 3 is 8.
Is 8. Okay.
2 from dex, 1 from.
You hit him. You plant him. There's no question. You plant him. You injure him. He takes a minor amount of damage, not a significant amount, but a point, so to speak, of damage in the fall, and he is there beneath you, pinned, and he's going to try and hurl you off him. This is an opposed strength check.
Easy for you to say at half midnight.
It's not great, actually. That's only a 9.
Oh, well, the good news is Agnar has a -1. He does have athletic strength 0, so do I get to add 0 to that as well?
Yes, you do indeed.
Oh, perfect. That's a 7 -1 is 6.
Okay, that gives an effect of 2. All right. Okay, he is. He goes down. He looks stunned for a moment. He kicks out with his feet and sort of throws his arms across, and by just his sheer muscle power, pushes Agnar off and tries to climb to his feet and run, basically.
Okay. If we back round to Agnar's turn, how far is he within, grab a foot distance?
He's basically managed to get you off him and stand up, and he's think of him as being like in the starting blocks.
Yeah. So if Agnar was to grab out at a foot once Luke has said,
I was saying, in this combat round, can Kara insert herself into this in some way?
Yeah. So can Zoe if you're opening it up.
Kara would like to point at the guy trying to flee and scream very loudly, "That bald man stole my purse!"
Okay. Now, that's fair enough. Yeah. Can you roll a deception with intellect check for me, please?
Now, when you say deception, then, because I knew you were going to say this. Now that seems very fair, actually.
She shouts it, no one believes her. Oh, they might believe her. Was it deception? It depends how hard the check is. Deception plus what?
Plus intellect.
Oh, 11.
11. Okay. Yeah. All right. So several things happen at once. First of all, he's trying to leave, and Agnar's trying to trip him and grab him and stop him from going. You yell at him. At the same time, Zoe charges at him.
Yes.
Oh,
Zoe. She's good. She is a good fighter. It's been a while, but she is a good fighter, actually.
She throws a punch as she approaches, which hits. And well, it doesn't do a lot. Let's say that it barely glances off him.
She tried,
but it knocks his face about a bit. But she does land a hit on him. It is absolutely clear that everyone completely in this street, mob mentality, they completely buy Kara's claim of crime.
Yeah, she's loving a mob mentality.
Influence,
She is. She's an innocent-looking woman.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone's looking at him, pointing him out, and he looks around at all these sort of unfriendly faces, and he almost slumps in defeat. And then he tries bolting the other way as fast as he can. So Agnar and Zoe each get an opportunity to try and stop him, and if not, he's got other obstacles.
Okay.
So roll an attack for melee, please.
Wonderful. Is that the same as last time?
Yep, it'll be +1. Yep.
That's a 7 + 3 is 10.
Okay. You land a hit. It stuns him, which is good because Zoe swung and completely missed. You rolled a 3. And even with a bonus, that's not good. So yeah, you land a solid hit, and this time he stops. He sort of puts his hands up, like, okay, I didn't do anything. and a small crowd of people seems to be gathering around, looking at him and taking interest. And it's not very long before included in the crowd is a couple of police officers.
Too believable.
Too believable, I know.
Agnar, sorry, no, you go on.
No, as I say, Kara is going to. Agnar's rubbish at talking. Zoe, Kara whispered to Zoe and say, "Help Agnar out," and then Kara walks towards the police officers and tries to turn them away from the. I'm hoping that people have sort of recognised her as the screamer and the. So she'll play the thank you officers, sort of go straight to them in that sort of, a bit helpless, play on the helplessness thing, I guess.
All right.
But try and half turn them away from the other guys to try and buy them time if they want any time with him, I guess, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Okay. It's going to be a deception with intellect check, please.
I'm glad you said intellect. I don't think it's again. Okay, we might be coming out of the bad times. If it's 7 + 2 and 9.
A 9. Okay. The police officers seem completely focused on their target. You can't seemingly distract them, and they are gently shoving their way through the crowd to grab the bald guy.
God.
Can Agnar sort of approach him between the police officers and himself, and
he can try.
Yes, he would love to.
What does he want to do? Just stand there?
Well, no, he's just gonna walk up to him and he just wants to say something to him.
Okay. If you want to sort of speak to the police officers as they approach, that's fine. What do you want to say?
Oh no, he wants to speak to the bald guy before they approach.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. You're going to have effectively a short round here, but yes, you can do it.
He'll say, "I can buy you time to run and keep your reputation. Who are you? Why are you watching us?"
Okay. Can you roll persuade with intellect or social? Your choice.
Oh, I should have gone with deception. That's a 7 - 1. 6.
A 6.
See how friendly he is.
Okay. Okay. He says, "I'm just a fisherman. Some guy paid me to watch you. Tell him where you went."
Do I have time to briefly describe Vess? I suppose I could ask if he was Zidane. Quick, wouldn't it?
Yes, you can ask if he was Zidane. The guy says, "No." And that's about all you got.
The Commodore.
Agnar will sort of stand to the side, and I assume if he heard what Kara shouted, he'll sort of realise the situation they could potentially be in and just step back into the crowd and try and wander off.
Yeah. Can Kara melt? If they're focused on those two, I'm guessing Kara can melt away.
She can if she can make the hit. So, all of you are going to need a stealth roll with dexterity, please.
If anyone could give me some boom points right now.
Oh, to be fair, actually, stealth isn't too bad.
Was it stealth plus what?
Stealth plus dex.
Stealth plus dex.
I've got to be warm these ones.
Oh no, I'm hitting 0, so I've got to roll 8 or more probably. Come on. I have as well. 9.
I got a 7 + 3.
Oh, even better. What did Zoe hit?
Can I just say, Zoe's basically turned into gas.
Yeah, what's happened to that? Zoe, the greatest of all. Zoe, you are... Zoe?
Okay, yes. in the crowd, you all manage to, separate and dissipate, and the police are chatting to the guy and demanding to know what's going on and what the trouble was, and presumably they'll eventually realize he's not actually holding anybody's purse, but
Yeah.
but it may take him a few minutes to actually convince them that he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Who'd have thought that those three could sneak away from a couple of police officers
I
in
know,
a crowded situation?
It was some good rolling, though. To be honest, it was some good rolling. Yeah.
It
Of all the
started.
people in all the world.
It started badly, knocking things over in a shop and causing all sorts of problems, and it slowly built up from there.
Okay. Yes. Right. And as our three heroes who have just won a mighty victory in a huge battle,
Big for them, yeah.
With a fisherman.
with
Potentially.
a slightly diffident fisherman, reassemble themselves on their, meet up again, sort of 2 blocks
Dissident
down or
fisherman.
whatever, by communicating with each other, and set their way back to the hotel to meet with their tour guide. I think that is time we should call it for this evening.
But what a victory it was at the end. I felt vindicated that it was the 3 people that wouldn't necessarily had to come up with a different way. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
It was. It
Can,
was an inventive way to run the fight, actually, to be honest.
Okay. Thank you, everyone that's watched. Thank you. I think it's fair because there's been some interaction. When we close the stream for everyone in a second, I think we'll leave it running for a few minutes if anyone wants to call off, and then we will do a, what's it called again? A raid. We'll jump to another. We'll jump to another channel which we rate. You're welcome to join us or not. It gets you some points, maybe here, maybe there, and it's a nice thing to support other channels that we rate. You can stay there for as long or as short as you want, but it's a nice thing to do. And yeah, so thank you. We're going to turn off the sound now. So if you're just watching on in the future, thank you so much for watching.
Yes, and thank you, everyone. It's been such a treat tonight.
It has.
Yeah, it has been really good. Can I just say that Daddy Agnar mode will carry over to the next session, and the next group purchase that we will make will be purchased by Agnar.
I think so.
So make sure to tune in if you want.
Sorry. Damn! Yes. Yeah, Daddy Agnar mode continues.
Yeah, I've made a note on my in my notes to carry it over.
Your character sheet, Daddy Agnar mode engaged.
Yeah, exactly. I would appreciate it if the other 2 reminded me, because
I'll tell you what, I'll write it. I've started a new page for next week, Daddy Agnar. Cool. Yes. So yeah, we'll stop the video for people watching in the future now. Thank you so much. Please watch. We've really enjoyed this evening, and we'll be back on Thursday for the after hours chat, and then next Friday for episode 15, where we might finally go on our day out. Who knows? Something else might happen.
maybe we'll meet the tour guide. Jeremiah may appear. He may not. It might be someone completely different.
Yep. Yes, I promise Jeremiah will hove into view. There just wasn't an opportunity to name one right now.
Cool. But thank you for that, everyone, and may